Wow, an interesting point that was made in the comment section on the video I did about Karen's mom, Mona, being somewhat of a older Karen if Karen continues to go down the path that she's currently on. Remember the video I did, Karen and Fatima's mother, oh, are both bitter baby mamas. When you look at how Mona speaks about Fatima's birth father, it instantly gave me Karen vibes. Someone who reminisces in a very bad way about a past relationship. Fatima's in her 30s. I believe the character synopsis, well, even in episode 10, Fatima's stepfather said that he came into her life at age 9. So the situation between Mona and Fatima's birth father happened, you know, at some point like 3 decades ago. Yet to this day, she still talks about this man with disdain, almost in the same way. Like, you could tell she's been nagging about this man for years and years and years and years. Either not just Fatima, but probably her current husband have just heard nothing but the worst things about him. And Karen is definitely, doing the same thing. Let's say hypothetically that her baby is Zach's child. That child is going to grow up hearing the worst about their father. I say there because we don't know if it's a boy or girl, but it's just pitiful. And can you imagine the situation where Fatima grew up and all she heard were the worst things about her dad? And as a result of that, some fans speculate that, maybe this is where Fatima gets her issues. She probably has the coping mechanisms of, wow, well, my mom, I love my dad, but my mom gave, like the best years of her life to him. And as a result, that's her way of coping, where it's like, well, my mom ran, so I'm going to run too. But then again, didn't she say it wasn't running, it was self-care, some nonsense like that? I mean, you could just tell by Fatima's mother's demeanor that Fatima has some of those qualities where she's going to speak her mind and she's going to make her thoughts, heard. I really wish we had, look, he just got introduced, so maybe we'll get more scenes with Fatima's stepfather in future episodes. Between him and his wife, but I would like to see what their dynamic is when it's just the two of them, because of the fact that I want to see and hear, how does Mona speak to him? How does he speak to her? Is it a situation like Zach and Fatima or the current iterations of Zach and Fatima where, the man in the relationship has his thoughts, but the woman, her thoughts are going to be made clear and it's going to be her way or no way. But when it comes to Fatima's father, what's that saying? Like, men typically try to find women who remind them of their mothers. Is the same true of women when it comes to their fathers? Like, I want a man, that reminds me of my father. And if that's the case, that could be why she has a thing for ex-cons and whatnot like Zach, because of her dad's, past life. So it's just one of those things where it kind of all ties together. Wow, Jeremy, but you talk about Mona having an influence on Fatima, yet she acts like a child when she's around her mom. Well, yeah, it makes sense. Look at Zach and how he acts around his mom. Look at Jeffrey from the Haves and the Have-Nots. Grown, confident man, but as soon as his mom is around, he turns to like a toddler, because the authoritative parent is the one that can bring that side out of grown people. And it makes sense, not to mention, I said this in season 5. I feel like Fatima bullies Zach. And how they say bullies typically, they're victims of bullying themselves, whether it be from, a parent, a family member, or, a bigger bully than them. And what do? They take out that, frustration on those quote unquote weaker than them. And Fatima does that with Zach. Notice how she seemingly acts like what her mom could have been acting like when she was growing up. She saw how her mom interacted with men, and as a result, that's how she interacts with Zach. You know, bringing out the worst side of herself. But it's an interesting discussion point, and it does make sense. It's like, you know, she took the way her mother interacted with men and took it to heart, but at the same time, she pursues men who remind her of her father. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one.